So, I have already said that I enjoy yoga with Adrienne, and I do my best to really practice yoga most days, and I follow her calendar. Today, or yesterday, I think it was, rather, yesterday's yoga with Adrienne was yoga for loneliness. And it got me to thinking that actually that might be something that I might tap on. So that's why I've decided to make this video today. So I want us just to think of a time in our lives when we've maybe felt a bit lonely. We might be feeling lonely just now. Um, we can, there's different ways to be lonely. We can be lonely because there's no one else around. But there can sometimes be people around and we still have that loneliness, maybe that lack of connection. So if we just close your eyes, take a moment, watch your in breath and your out breath. Feel the connection of your feet on the floor and where you're sitting. Feel that grounding feeling. And just for a moment, ponder on a situation that you might have just now, or one that you've had in the past. A time that you felt lonely, alone, maybe without connection with the people around you. And the more detail you can get, the more detail that you can bring back, the better. The exact place, the exact people involved, the exact situation. And now I want you to open your eyes, and with that, just that moment's thought, really let's have a sense of how we're feeling. We might feel it in our body. We might feel a sense of emptiness, weight, I don't know, maybe across our shoulders, just a feeling of sorrow. I'm putting words into your minds, which I don't normally do when I'm working with somebody with EFT, but I'm just trying to imagine the types of feelings that we might have. So let's do a round first on those body feelings. That's the feelings we might be experiencing. There might be a catch in our throat. So I'm going to refer to it as that feeling because you will know what that feeling is, and that'll help focus us. So let's start. Also, of course, let's think just now, how strong is that feeling? Where is it exactly? Get the detail so that you can come back to it. So even though I have that lonely feeling, I accept myself. You might want to say I'm a good friend or a good person. Sometimes people say they find it difficult to say I accept myself, and even more difficult sometimes to say I love and accept myself. There's two schools of thought here. One is that you might want to say I would like to love and accept myself. Or the other school of thought is the more we say it, the more we might actually begin to believe it. So I will leave it up to you. Let's go back. Even though I have this feeling of loneliness right now, I accept myself. Even though I have that lonely feeling inside me, I accept myself. That lonely feeling. That lonely feeling. That lonely feeling inside me. That lonely feeling. That feeling of loneliness. That feeling of loneliness. That lonely feeling. That lonely feeling. Let's blow out all that loneliness. So for the people who felt something physically inside, I would hope that some of that feeling has dissolved. It might move a little bit. You might feel that it was somewhere in your chest and it's maybe moved around to the side or the back. It may have moved up into your throat. It will be different for everybody. So I'm going to leave that, even though you might personally still have a feeling. If that's the case, I would put this video on pause and I would think of exactly where that feeling has gone and what it feels like. You could also ask if that feeling could say something to you. What would it say? And if something comes into your mind, tap on that. So you might need a couple of different rounds to work on the actual feeling inside. For those of you who didn't have a feeling, or that the feeling has now dissolved, I want us to come back to that lonely feeling and just have another thought about where we are with it. You might find now, having tapped on the feeling, that the overall 0 to 10 has improved. It might have got increased, might have got bigger, it might have stayed the same. So again, let's just come back to that lonely feeling. Imagine your scenario, whether you indeed are sitting alone at home, in a flat, in a house, whether in your own bedroom, feeling very alone and lonely. But you could also be reflecting on how you feel when you're in a staff room, when you're in the workplace, and a feeling of being lonely, although there are many people around you. So give yourself 0 to 10, how you're feeling right now, not how you were feeling yesterday or on Monday morning, but how you feel about that loneliness at this moment. So 0 to 10, 0 being, actually, I'm fine. I'm either not feeling lonely or I'm feeling lonely and actually it's okay. I'm quite enjoying feeling lonely. To 10, feeling desperately lonely, and it's really affecting your mental health a lot. And if that's the case, please phone a friend, get in contact, and I'm quite happy to do a session. But especially if you're at a 10, you're never completely alone. There is always somebody there. You might not think so, but there is. For most of us, I would hoping that we're somewhere in the middle. So let's have a little think about it just now and let's get tapping. So we're feeling lonely, and I'm going to start with that isolated feeling. Even though I have that isolated feeling, I feel alone. I accept myself. Even though I have that isolated feeling like I'm cut off, I accept myself. Even though I have that isolated feeling, I accept myself. Isolated, cut off from everybody else. isolated and alone. Isolated. Isolated and alone. And as always, repeat, speak along with me. If you don't have the exact feelings, or it doesn't link exactly, either add your own or just follow along with what I'm saying and doing, and you will have borrowed benefits. If we tap together, we benefit together. I'm going to continue. Those isolated feelings. Isolated and cut off. Isolated feelings. Now, as I tapped, the phrase out on a limb popped into my head. So that's what I'm going to suggest we tap on now. Something else might have popped into your head. Sometimes you'll find there's positive things pop in, and those are the solutions, which are brilliant, but it's the negatives that we're looking at to tap further. So being out on a limb, in this case, it could be a positive, but I'm feeling it maybe as a negative just now. So even though I feel out on a limb, I feel all by myself on that branch, I accept myself. Even though I feel like I'm out on a limb, I've actually got a picture of myself at the end of a long branch right now. Not literally, because I would be too heavy for a branch. But I accept myself. Even though I feel like I'm out on a limb, I accept myself. Out on a limb. Out on a limb, all on my own. All on my own, out on a limb. Out on a limb. Out on a limb. All alone and isolated. Out on a limb. Out on a limb. Now, that feeling, I think I thought maybe a feeling of sadness about that, being out on a limb, being alone. And we can have different levels of sadness. For some people, there might be a strong sense of sadness feeling alone. But for others, it might just be feel a bit wistful. And as I say, some people might enjoy being on their own, because I think there's a difference between being alone and lonely. But today we're focusing on feeling lonely. So let's just go back to the feeling a little bit, and rather the emotion, and we'll just tap a bit on sadness. And if you feel that it's something different, then you just add in what you feel feels right for you, because that's when it's going to work better, is if you do have your own word. So even though I have this feeling of sadness, I accept myself. Even though I have this sad feeling, I accept myself. Even though I have this feeling of sadness, I accept myself. Sadness. A feeling of sadness. A sad feeling. A sad feeling. sadness. Sadness. A feeling of sadness. A sad feeling. Now, as I was tapping just now, a few more phrases were popping in, but actually they were phrases like, you know, you've got good friends, you've got family, and you might not be with them all the time, but they're there. You've got colleagues who are around, and you know, actually, if you contacted them, they would be more than willing to have a cup of tea, or something else. So for me, I think I was getting towards the end, I was getting more solutions, which I think it was alleviating any feeling of sadness um, within me. So I hope that has helped you, whether or not you were feeling lonely in the first place. But it's something you can maybe use at a later date. So thank you for watching this far.